His daughter's in my class. The black one over there. The glasses.
Oh, what's her name? Oh, the phone! Stop! Yes, everything is soap. On the way.
Everyone.
Bringing them in by all
You want to do it like my hair? That's your fucking hair, never mind. Oh, it hurts.
My arms hurt.
Right.
Where's your little sister? Why do you want your sister? You're trying to hold me. You're doing it on purpose. Do you just like my hands or something? Wait, no. Wait. Where's your hat?
What's wrong?
He's trying to ambush me with the same way.
We're gonna go and catch one after.
Oh, I might need that. Fire!
Woo! Look, that is good.
Freshman year.
No, Oregon City had the exact same event today. That's why we don't have over the 400 veterans that we usually have. Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic off to let the kids that have done all this work to get this ready today. Talk to the rest of our program. I just couldn't be more pleased with how this turned out. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn the mic over to Maya Phillips, our ASB president. She's going to get us kicked off. Thank you again.
My peers and I have worked extremely hard on this event, and we wouldn't want to do it for anyone else. So I would like to turn it over to my Vice President, Xavier Glenn.
Hello everybody, I'm Xavier Glenn. I'd ask everybody to please rise while the Reynolds JRTC presents the colors.
Because I'm not in uniform.
Please remain standing while our band plays the national anthem.
Please be seated. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing the only adult that really has any business speaking today because of the work that he's put in. It doesn't show, but this was his first run at putting this on this year. Please join me in welcoming Activities Director Chris Phelps.
Welcome, everybody. It has been my pleasure to feed you for the past 7 years if you've been at our Living History Day celebrations. I was a culinary instructor up until this year, and I think you'll agree that guy today was way better than I ever was.
Damn right.
But the effort that I put in to serve you and the effort of our students taught me what it takes to be successful, and my leadership students have just come through all the way. And so I'm just truly honored today to stand before all of you. These students have been preparing and talking about this day for weeks. Living History Day is one of my favorite days at Reynolds High School because it brings our community together and it really brings out the best in our students. And I thank you for that. Your time with our students in the classroom is what makes this day special. Your experience and perspectives really bring the history that you've lived a lot for our students. Your sacrifice and courage and devotion to our nation are truly inspiring for all of us. Thank you. At this time, I would like to introduce Chloe Nelson and Bella McManus, who will actually introduce Chloe Nelson to read a poem.
So up next we have Chloe Nelson reading her handwritten poem written to all of you guys in honor of this very special day. My name's Chloe. This is a letter to our nation's heroes. Today we have come together to honor you, to thank you for all you have done for us, for our freedom. But all too often we don't realize what we are thanking you for. We are thanking you for putting your life on the line for ours. Hello? Okay, sorry. We are thanking you for fighting the battles that we could not. We are thanking you for leaving your families at home to create new ones with your brothers and sisters in arms. We are forever grateful. Most of you have endured more than most of us could even imagine and experienced pain that still haunts you today. Year after year, we asked you to fight for us. We asked you to go into a war zone and stand up for those who could not stand up for themselves. And you did it without hesitation, keeping us safe from enemies foreign and domestic. So many times you have laid friends and family to rest and continue to fight for us without question. America's freedom is because of you. And to those of you who are the siblings, parents, children, spouses, or friends of those who have served, we are eternally thankful that you sacrificed your time and love and genuinely sorry for those who never returned to you. Your pain does not go unnoticed. Freedom isn't free. It comes at a very high cost that not only our veterans but their families as well have paid. For those of you who are like me, thankful and unable to really fully understand the hardships of these brave soldiers, I encourage you to listen to the stories of our heroes, to do all you can to thank them, and never stop honoring them for their service. And so, to our heroes, this is what we are doing today. We are honoring you, and the best way we know how, because you deserve all of this and more. One day a year to say thank you is not enough, but we hope this is a good start and that you understand how appreciative we at Reynolds High School truly are. Being a senior, this is my 4th year experiencing Living History Day, and I think that most of our student body can agree with me that it is our favorite time of year. I'm sad to say this is my last LHD, but the memories I have The memories that I have from this amazing opportunity will be cherished forever. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you for your service.
Now at this time, I would like to bring up for our POW MIA tribute, Megan Convery and Jose Ortiz.
The white tablecloth draped over the table represents the purity for their response to our country's call to arms.
The empty chair depicts an unknown face, representing no specific soldier, sailor, airman, or marine, but all who are not here with us.
The table itself is round to show that our concern for them is never ending. The black napkin stands for the emptiness these warriors have left in the hearts of their family and friends.
The single red rose reminds us of their families and loved ones. The red ribbon shows the love for our country, which inspired them to answer the nation's call.
The yellow candle and the yellow ribbon symbolize the everlasting joyous for a reunion for those yet accounted for.
The lemon slices on the bread plate remind us of their bitter fate.
The salt upon the bread plate represent the tears of their families.
The glass, turned upside down, reminds us that our distinguished comrades cannot share a toast with us and join in the festivities of the evening. Thank you.
And now at this time, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce a gentleman who has spent over 2 decades in military service, both with the United States Air Force and the United States Army. And after his time of service was over and he chose to retire, his service to this country was not yet over. He chose to bring the discipline and the lessons of the military, as well as his inspirational personality, to Reynolds High School, and he is the head of our JROTC program and has been for the last 7 years. So it is my distinct pleasure to introduce my friend, Gregory Bynum.
Mario, don't he look good in that uniform?
RHS. As y'all know, I'm very shy. This might take a minute for me to get through. First, it's an honor and a privilege. Every year, this validates my decision after 27 years of wearing this uniform that I did find the right place, Reynolds High School. So often, I've been asked for years, why did I decide to serve over 27 years in uniform? As I reflect on this question, I can share that it all started as a 12-year-old sitting in a barbershop waiting to get my hair cut. And see, the clients in that barbershop were gentlemen and ladies who are sitting before you today that were veterans. And as I sat there, I used to listen to their stories about travel, combat, brotherhood, and family. I was intrigued, to say the least. So for years, I would continue to sit in barbershops from New York to Virginia, where I would spend my summers with my grandmother, and ironically, the stories would be the same. Seeing the world, brotherhood, and family. However, as I grew up, I realized that there was another common denominator, the willingness to serve others. And as we like to say, it was at that moment that the light bulb lit up, and I knew this would be my calling, to serve others in any capacity that I could. So here I am, standing before you today as a veteran, a husband, a father, a coach, and most of all, a teacher. In 1984, I joined the United States Air Force and began a journey that would change my life. I was blessed to be stationed in Italy, where I met my beautiful wife, Susan. We then were stationed in North Carolina, go Tar Heels, don't hate, where my first of 3 sons were born. It was at Seymour Johnson, however, in Goldsboro, North Carolina, that I thought I was going to make a change. At that point in my career, I served for 9 years. My intention was always to go into law enforcement. So there I decided to make a change. I was offered a position with the Raleigh, North Carolina Police Department. However, as we all know in this room, life doesn't always go the way you plan. Life throws you a curveball. My curveball came in the form of a 16-year-old black girl that was being interviewed on television about the future. She replied, "With I will either sell drugs, get pregnant, or simply be forgotten." This statement forced me to do a checkup from the neck up, realizing as I looked at my life, I have always been able to provide for my family, that I control my destiny, and that it is possible to overcome the obstacles that life can put in front of me. I realized then that I needed to be on the street, where I could connect with people from all walks of life and spread the word that you don't have to buy into the BS and the negativity about the perceived limits that some in society would have you to believe are true. So here we are, and here we go. I became a career counselor in the United States Air Force, stationed in Florida and Washington. And boy, let me tell you, did I meet everybody from every walk of life. And for some of you that think Portland's weird, take a trip through the Everglades. You'll meet some people. Make life pretty daggone interesting. So with that experience, I did get to change some people's lives. I got to realize that the power of a handshake and a conversation can truly change the world. And it can provide people with hope. So during that brief moment in time, I decided that I was done serving. I would take these new skills to the civilian sector and finish my time in the military as a part-time soldier in the Oregon National Guard in 2 capacities. My first love is aviation, flying, so I had the honor and privilege to be a part of the CH-47 crew. And then the second one, as an M1A1 Abrams tank crew member, where who doesn't like things that go fast and blow stuff up?
So cool.
I had a kick-butt job at the time at Harley Davidson. I was coaching and mentoring young people in the community and simply enjoying life, love, and the pursuit of happiness. Again, life would show up in the form of 4 commercial airplanes being hijacked to be used as part of a terrorist attack. That day was September the 11th, 2001. So here we go again. This time there was no question about what I would do next. My wife, sons, and other family members knew that I would request to return to full-time status and defend and serve America. Well, after 12 years that went by way too fast, it was time to take off the boots and move on to the next chapter of my life. That next chapter of my life was somewhat of a struggle. You see, my struggle came from job offers that would place me in a cubicle or working in a place where talking was always followed with a shh. And you know me. That ain't happening. I would get into trouble for trying to fix things, people, or life in general. So what to do? Life once again showed up, and I received a phone call from a former soldier asking if I would come to this place called Reynolds High School and be a guest speaker for an interesting day known as Living History Day. Thankfully, like some of you, I decided to skip that day, and I came to Reynolds, and I spoke. I remember that day so clear because it felt like home. Not because it reminded me of my hometown, but it reminded me about all the stories I heard in the barbershop. See, Reynolds is a place that is not scared to recognize those that have paved the way for their future. A place that represented every country that I had traveled to. Reynolds, a place where languages sound like music as you walk up and down the hallways. Yes, Reynolds felt like home. However, at that time, I was only a guest, and I would have to leave. But here we go again. That thing called life would intervene and provide me with an opportunity to serve again. This time it would be here at Reynolds as a junior ROTC instructor, where I could talk about life, because y'all know that's what I do. Be highly motivated every day! Because that's how we roll! That's why there's APG up in here.
APG all the way.
And most importantly, be a part of a school that's willing to serve others. Not just for one day a week, not just for 1 month, or one time a year, but every day. I've had the privilege and pleasure to serve you, Raider Nation, for 7 years. I hope that I've made a difference in your lives as you have made in mine. I will leave you with one simple belief that I hold true. We can change the world with a handshake and a conversation. So here I am, veteran, husband, father, coach, and teacher. Thank you, God bless, and ATG.
ATG all the way.
The A is to ascend, the G is to greatness.
Ascend to greatness.
Yeah.
If I weren't too old, I would want to go down to a recruiter right now and sign up. There's still time, okay? I will go to a recruiter today. There's probably one here right now wanting to talk to me. There they are. Okay. This year we'd like to recognize in a special way the veterans of World War II. Those brave men and women who served in our military during World War II have been called by historians our country's greatest generation. When we first started our Living History Day celebration, our halls and classrooms were filled with their voices and stories, bringing to life the lessons previously taught only in textbooks and videos. Now, 8 years later, sadly, many of them have been called home or cannot be with us for medical reasons. They leave behind their stories, their morals, their work ethics, and a sense of duty to our great nation. They taught us these lessons over the years as our parents, our grandparents, and our great-grandparents. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Jackson Arnold, who will be reciting a poem written in honor of that very special bond between grandparent and great-grandparent and grandchild.
Does this one work? Okay. I wrote this poem in regards to my great-grandpa Jim. It would be cruel to give you pity, though I am touched by your condition. As I sit and visualize you slowly walking across the room, hands rough and tattered, a body that is spent, and eyes that are old, yet has the young at heart desire to speak of so many stories. You are much older than I. Tears fill my eyes because as you see me, a gigantic smile illuminates your face as you slowly shuffle past me. My tears come because as I have become selfish in my own ways, you never once faltered as you forged into battle. I was oblivious to your pain. I never heard you cry out. The desperate sounds of you and your comrades praying out loud on that unforgiving day. June 6, 1944. You and others quickly learned what death, evil, and fear truly meant. It was all around you. The carnage of young men drowning in the barely too deep waters. Waves that were heavy with the blood of soldiers that never even made it to the beach. Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juneau, and Sword.